What is of concern to God? What should concern us? Well, let's hear what concerns Pastor David Wilkerson.
The wicked, the Bible said he laughs at the nations rising up against him. He said they're just little specks of dust in the measuring cup. He said that does not, yes, it grieves God, but that's not his concern. God's concern is his church. You see, the unbelief that Jesus faced in the hearts of those, even his disciples, it was the unbelief that hindered his work. He said, I can't do many works there because of their unbelief. And I want to go into that for just a few minutes, if you will, please. I've been examining my heart in the past weeks. I've been traveling in conferences for ministers. I've been preaching this pulpit for over 17 years. And I'm seeing all these things that are happening around the world, all the methods, all the new programs, expensive programs. And everywhere I go, I hear these new things being introduced. And many ask, well, Brother Dave, what, you pastor what they call a mega church. God help you to raise up a church that is substantial witness to the world. What's the plan? I mean, what can we do? What can you give us? We'd like to do what you're doing there with your pastors and your team in New York City. And when I look at it, and I see a world that is turning apostate, and I see all these things that Jesus said coming upon the earth when men's hearts are going to fail them for fear. I say, God, I'm one man. What do you want me to do? I fast, I pray, I try to go to the ends of the world. But the older I get and the closer I get to the last run around the course, the more I think of only one thing, and that's the day I stand before Christ. When he said, everything is going to be tested by fire. Every work. He said, every one of us, you and me, are going to stand on that day. And when I think of that, I say, oh God, I'm looking over my life of all the things you've called me to do, the ministries that you placed in my hand, the buildings that I built, the purchase, the ministries you had laid on my heart and started, and all of these things. And one day I'm going to stand before God, and all of these things are going to be brought up and tested in the utter holiness of Christ. The fire is just the absolute holiness, the piercing love, the utter holiness of God, where nothing in the flesh can stand. Nothing in flesh can last a moment, because suddenly it's in a flash and it's gone. Now, every soul I've won, not going to burn. No, all of those things that have been under the blood, those people that have been won, they don't lose their soul. Even a cup of cold water that's given in the name, in love to a prophet, it's going to have its reward, Jesus said. And many are going to stand there, and all their works are going to survive the fire. And I never questioned my salvation, because Jesus said, when the fire comes, well, let me read it to you. He said, let every man be careful how you build. Each man's work will become evident, for the day will show it. The day when we stand before Christ, that's the day of the Lord. It's going to be revealed by fire, and the fire itself will test the quality of each man's work. This day of the Lord, the fire shall try every man's work, of what sort it is. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so is by fire. Peter talks about when judgment begins in the house of the Lord, there are going to be some that are scarcely saved. Folks, I don't want to be scarcely saved. I don't want to stand before him. I don't want the works, the thing. I don't want to have to stand before him and see it all both times. Lord, all my lifetime, and I have nothing to offer you. thank God for their souls. None of that is going to be lost. All of the things that he said he would do for you, he will do. But you see, I had to look at, Lord, did I hinder in any way your gospel? Paul the apostle said, he really looked at his life. He said, I have to be careful how I come to the people. I can't be a materialistic-minded man. He said, because that I might not cause hindrance to the gospel of Christ.
God forbid that any Christian cause a hindrance to the gospel. It is important that you stay tuned.